Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 17, which is entitled as Shraddha-traya Vibhāga Yoga, the three types of faith. Sloka 10, Part 2. Yāta-yāmaṁ gata-rasaṁ pūti paryuṣitaṁ chayat ucchiṣṭam api cāmedhyaṁ bhojanaṁ tāmasa-priyam. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Food that is tasteless, decomposed and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. As we have mentioned earlier, one should be clean before eating. That implies one should eat clean food as well. There are many unclean items which should be completely avoided. If we keep ourselves clean but then we eat unclean food, we obviously become contaminated. In the Vedic tradition, if one sees the dead body or touches the dead body, they should immediately take full bath for purification. That is, even without touching the dead body. Then what to speak of eating dead bodies? People eat animals. We are supposed to be loving, caring for all living entities. When we say this, those people who eat meat say God has given everything for us to enjoy, for our survival. Or they say we need protein. None of these arguments are true, cannot be accepted. It's all altered according to one's desire. The truth is, yes, God has given everything, but that doesn't mean it's meant for us to enjoy. Likewise, people are very much concerned about protein. They say if you don't eat meat, you will not have enough protein. Protein, which is considered to be biologically essential for building blocks of life because it contains amino acids. But we should know the truth that the plants can synthesize amino acid from air, earth and water. But animals are dependent on plants for protein, either directly by eating plants or indirectly by eating an animal which has eaten plants. So we should know for sure that the vegetable kingdom is capable of producing protein. Those animals which do not derive amino acid directly or indirectly from plants will not have amino acid in them. If we eat plants, not only we get amino acid, we also get other benefits: carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, hormones, chlorophyll, and other elements that only plants can supply, not the animal kingdom. People are so degraded that now they also eat insects, reptiles, anything that flies, anything that crawl, anything that walk, anything that swim. There is no discrimination what they eat. But we should know that meat, fish, eggs are impure foods by nature, as they normally decompose more quickly than vegetarian foods. This is the reason why carnivorous animals have a very short intestine, 3 times their body length, so that it can quickly expel the remains of the meal. Whereas in human beings, the intestine length is 12 times the body length, and the acid produced by the stomach is only 1/20th of what is produced by the stomach of carnivore animals. That means these food, the meat that's consumed by human beings, stays in for longer period. Those who eat meat, they have to manipulate by adding necessary ingredients to change his natural appearance to an acceptable appearance. When we speak about these things to the meat eaters, they get irritated, they get disturbed, simply because they don't want to hear the facts. They like to remain in ignorance. These people forgotten all compassion, moral sense, cleanliness, lost intelligence, good senses. But they project to be good people in the public. Sometimes we see people avoid eating meat if they plan to go to temple. Doesn't it give us an idea that God doesn't like meat? It's very simple and easy to understand. But those people prefer to remain ignorant. In Manusmriti, it is said, Māmsa bhojanaṁ yasya māmsam idāmyaham etan māmsasya māmsatvam pravadanti manishinaha. The word māmsa means meat. That whom I am eating here will eat me in my next life. That is the meaning of māmsa, meat. For my satisfaction of tongue, I am eating you, whichever the animal is. In my next life, you take my position and you can eat me. And in Mahabharata, it is said, the purchaser of flesh performs violence by his wealth because he is buying it. He who eats flesh does so by enjoying its taste. The killer does himsa, violence, by actually tying and killing the animal. Thus, there are three forms of killing. He who brings flesh, or one who sends someone to purchase flesh. He who cuts off the limbs of an animal and who purchases, sells or cooks flesh and eats it. All of these are to be considered meat eaters. Sometimes we see people say, I am a vegetarian, but I don't mind buying meat for my family, for my friends, because I'm very open-minded. Unfortunately, that person is also considered meat eaters just because he is buying meat for someone else, though he doesn't consume himself. Or in some homes, one of the spouse cooks meat, but that person does not consume meat. That person is also considered meat eater. It is said in the Vedas that you must not use your God-given body for killing God's creatures, whether they are human, animal, or whatever. And there is another statement which says, those noble souls who practice meditation and other yogic ways, who are ever careful about all beings, who protect all animals, are the ones who are actually serious about spiritual practices. And Manusmriti says, by not killing any living being, one becomes fit for salvation. And another place in Mahabharata, it says, he who desires to augment his own flesh by eating the flesh of other creatures lives in misery in whatever species he may take his birth. And in Bhagavatam it is said, those sinful persons who are ignorant of actual religious principles yet consider themselves to be completely pious, without any consideration, without any hesitation, they commit violence against innocent animals who are fully trusting in them. In their next lives, such sinful persons will be eaten by the same creatures they have killed in this world. That doesn't mean that we can kill those animals which doesn't trust us. We can go on with many quotations from many scriptures which would require a book by itself to state and prove that meat, fish, eggs are not something as human we should consume. But the problem is, those convinced against their will are of the same opinion still. However, we need to be clear that the Vedic tradition does not prescribe the absolute prohibition on the consumption of rajasic or tamasic food, which includes meat, non-vegetarian. It simply gives valid reasons and gives us knowledge so that each and every individual will be able to make an informed and responsible choice and to be ready to face its consequences. In our next session, we will be elaborating on this topic, how meat eating, which includes chicken, fish and egg, harmful to health as well as to the environment. This subject has to be spoken in length because there are a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of myth that goes around in the world, making one to believe that eating meat, consuming fish, having chicken and egg are good for our health. But the truth will be revealed in our next session. So kindly stay tuned and do not skip the next session, irrespective of whether one is vegetarian or not, because it is important we know the details and help the world. Namaste, Hare Krishna.